Nina Aoulik's family tried to kill her in what is called an honor killing. An honor killing happens in some cultures when one of the family members, mainly the woman, are subject to honor killings. When a woman disobeys the family or goes against the grain of what the family's culture and values are, they take extreme measures to prevent the family name from being dishonored. This is why it's called an honor killing. You dishonor the family and now we will kill you. This happens around the world in Middle Eastern countries mainly and South Asian countries, but also in the US and Canada. I sat down and spoke with Nina about her story overcoming abuse, overcoming homelessness, the story of how her father tried to kill her, how her siblings tried to kill her. In her culture, she could not make eye contact with anybody. She was not allowed to make eye contact. She was forced to clean, to cook. She talks about the story of how her baby passed away, sadly. But the main thing about Nina that I want you guys to take away from this conversation is she is a reminder of the power of forgiveness. She has transformed her mind. She's transformed her life around. She wants to help others now, which is insane. When I DM'd Nina to get on this podcast, and I was just in awe of her, I wanted to talk to her, and I DM'd her. I sent her a voice memo. When I sent this voice memo to Nina, Nina responded back with, "Ryan, I hope you are okay." She looked at my comments on my Instagram and saw that a lot of them were negative. And she was so humble in not even talking about herself that she took the time to ask me if I was okay. I'm like, girl, Nina, I am way okay. I am all good. I was not abused by my family. I was allowed to make eye contact when I was a kid. This is going to be a two-part video because it's such an incredible story. I don't want to cut anything out of this. Let's watch Nina's story. She talks about it on Lad Bible, the YouTube channel. Let's check it out.
My mum was there, my sister-in-law was there, and they started to beat me. And this was a different kind of beating. It was almost as though they were determined to kill me. And all my life I'd been threatened that we will bury you under these floorboards, and I really believed they would. And within no time, they'd broken my jaw. They had broken my arm, and I was in a lot of pain. So my parents originate from the Punjab in North India. They came over in the 1960s, and I always say that they packed very tightly their cultural beliefs. And unfortunately for me, that meant that girls were not wanted or desired, but boys were. So I was looked upon as a bad entity, almost like a witch or a possessed child. So everyone wouldn't touch me or welcome me or hold me because they felt I was carrying bad spirits. My normality was such that I was kept in my room at the age of 6. My room wasn't like a child's bedroom whereby it's got nice furnishings and soft toys. It was very bare, brick walls. The only time I was allowed out of my room was to go to school, or my mother would call me to cook, or I would be called to do another chore like washing the plates or dishes or the clothes, because we didn't have washing machines. And I had no interaction with my family. I didn't make eye contact. Girls are told to look down all the time, and I still have a bit of an issue making eye contact with people, primarily because we get hit if we make eye contact, we get shouted at. So I was non-verbal because I didn't engage in conversation with my family. I had to nod, not speak. I used to press my ear against a very rough wooden door and listen into TV programs and pretend I was sitting with my family, but my friend at school would walk me to school and sing me all the songs from Top of the Pops, and that's how I knew a lot of music. I amused myself with books. I've got a love of books still. I used to take as many books from school as I could because they were my friends. I would name them, and I really believed in fairy tales and that I was Rapunzel, and then one day I would be saved from my room. I was the only person of colour in my school with my brother. So you would hear the word scrap and people running, and it was because I was being piled upon and beaten, or it was my brother being beaten. My hair was pulled, I was spat upon, and every day was a bit of a battle in a different way. I had literally a couple of friends because nobody wanted to be my friend because they too would be picked on. But the ones I had were very loyal and very loving, and I wasn't allowed a lunchbox. And my first experience of jam sandwiches was because my friend offered me one of hers, knowing that I wasn't getting any food at lunchtimes. And, I remember making that little jam sandwich last for the whole of the lunchtime so I could be part of the lunchtime community, sitting inside instead of sitting on a bench waiting. So my father, from the age of sort of 7 upwards, would bring back a group of his friends, and I knew them all. And in my culture, you don't say names, you say uncle or auntie to anyone that's older than you. And they would come and they would eat and they would drink, and my father owned a lot of pubs. So my father was the place to go to because he had the alcohol. And, he would come back from the pub, and my mother was the one who would wake me and say, go down. She would go back to bed, and I would go and cook rice and chapatis and chicken and some vegetables, and I would take them on a tray. Then I would sit on the bottom of our large wooden staircase waiting for them to finish because my father didn't like mess. And when I got to 14, my mother woke me up, and instinctively I had this horrible feeling. I remember taking the food in and waiting, and I remember thinking I don't want to go and pick the dishes up because they were exceptionally loud. They'd started to bring bottles outside. My father used to put the empty bottles outside, and there was bottles of Johnny Walker all lined up. And then when I did get the call, I went in with the big tray that we had. It was a big white tray, probably bigger than me, and he grabbed my wrist and the tray fell down. And he was the first person to throw me onto the table and rape me. I didn't know what was happening. I was too young. I closed my eyes. But I lived without the ability to see, so I knew each person's sound of who it was, each person's touch almost. And it was a very horrific attack by 7 or 8 men on me. And I was thrown from person to person. I was beaten. I was bitten.
Now, I sat down with Nina today, and it was such a beautiful conversation. She talks about her dreams, her goals, what she wants to do with her organization and honor killings, and it's such a beautiful story. Sit back, relax, and hopefully you guys get some inspiration from Nina's conversation. Take a look.
A decade ago, I had nowhere to go. I was lost, with my youngest son's hand in mine, and now I'm in a place that I feel really privileged that I've got a place. I just have to convert it into 6 flats, and then that'll be 6 smiley faces walking in, not the face I had of despair because the place was so disgusting. I didn't want to stay there. These people will never want to leave, but it is a temporary place for them. But it's not just 6 faces, it'll be 6 and then 6 more and 6 more. And every time I go to bed, Ryan, this is no word of a lie, I see the children's faces in a happy way, that they're coming. They were scared, they don't know what's happening, but suddenly they go into this property that I'm providing for them. They're given a bag from my non-profit. The bag's lots of goodies in them, pajamas, toys, soft furnishings. And for that one moment, they feel safe, but they feel cared for. And that's that imaginative hug I want to give to them.
I know in one of the podcasts that you did, you talked about the one person at the abortion clinic, I believe it was. And you said it was one of the first times you've ever felt love. Can you expand upon that?
It touched me, Ryan. It's the first time anybody had touched me in a loving way, I should say. I'd been slapped, I'd been punched, I'd been kicked, and that was obviously after the horrific rape, the gang rape that I went through. But that was the first time anyone had shown me any kind of emotional love, in a maternal way. And it doesn't matter how old we are, we all desire to be cared for, to be loved, to be seen, to be heard. It's a human desire that we have within us. It's deep down in our souls that, please look after me. I want to be looked after and heard and, just loved.
Right.
And it was the first time anybody had touched me in a caring way. Not only that, she brought me something. I was always the giver, and to many, even now, I'm the giver a lot of the time, but I'm learning to receive. but I was the one that was always providing the food, always cleaning the clothes, always making sure everybody was getting what they asked me for. But this was the first time somebody had actually handed me anything, and it was a cup of tea. It's such a simple thing. And when they say simple things in life is really what makes a difference, it's true. Kindness was a huge thing, but she was the woman,
Right.
and I wish I could meet her now, but she was the woman that taught me kindness and how it felt. Just as I say, I don't want anyone to feel the pain, I also know how I felt by receiving this love, this kind act. To her, it probably meant nothing. It's probably something she did every day. But to me, it was huge. It was what really made a difference in my life.